Take two. So somehow we got cut off the live. So this is the second part to the Holistic in Health and Consciousness, number 4, which is on the spiritual part of the holistic construct. So we were about to go into, we're talking about the internalized and the externalized. So the externalized is more about the waiting for stimuli. So we're seeing life as sort of an outside-in approach. That usually happens underneath the heart. So when we're dealing with the emotions of unconsciousness, apathy, and grief, grief is kind of like the pinnacle of the victim consciousness, or the it's happening to me level of consciousness. We work with that and we transmute, and eventually we work up into the heart, and we go from there. So my point is that up until we get up into the heart and higher, we are seeing it as coming to us. You know, we may see prayer as something we put out to to an externalized source, or externalized religious formulation, and then we see it sort of as we ask for something, and then it can be received. So that goes all the way up, though, depending on the where that person, where we are accessing. So it's not necessarily like what happened with the word. So I asked for a breeze, and then the breeze comes. That's something different. That's something. That's a kind of a different thing. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when we are looking outside of ourselves for spiritual guidance or spiritual answers, and we're waiting for it to come toward us. As we move up higher in the emotional body, especially when we get up into the thyroid, which is the emotion of anger, but it's the all of the programs and patterns around power and control. And this is an excellent healing crisis to work with where we are right now as humanity on this planet. Here in June of 2021, we are seeing a lot of structures, a lot of old power and control, the old power and control structures. We're really seeing them start to be made known, and some of these things that had been hidden in the covert anger for eons of time are now being really brought forth into where we can all see, and then from there it can be transmuted, and we can move forward. We can move on into greater awareness. So from the externalized, then we move forward and we go more internalized. That's the natural progression, is what I'm saying. And we can just watch it change as we transmute, as we do our inner work. We can just enjoy those changes. The one thing I will say about that in regards to those changes is to be aware of where we find ourselves having attachment, having places where we do not want to let go, something that has become very familiar or very traditional in our daily approach. It's really interesting how, as we move into higher states of awareness, greater states of awareness, those things sort of we're approaching those things all the way along, those attachments, And we have emotional attachments and mental attachments and many physical attachments. And I want to speak on that a little bit later. There's something I want to speak on in terms of the physical attachment, but that can come later. So yeah, just be aware of those things that we need to let go and move on. That's the point there. Okay, so there has been, I spoke about it a little bit on the physical on part 1, and that's in regards to parasites, physical parasites. What I have found in looking, with iridology, or just looking at people as they come to me for even nutritional, in nutritional counseling, or any form of counseling, I often will recognize that there is parasitical involvement on the physical level. And there's a really interesting correlation between parasitical involvement in the physical and in our auric field, or in the spiritual. So it's okay. That takes me into a very important part. So we are spirit prior to coming into these bodies. I think we all recognize that. So what happens though in the holistic construct, and this is a way that we can understand what happens as we make these molecules formulate and have our physical lives. The spirit comes into the mental body, thought and vision, and from the mental body, the emotional body is a part of the mental body. The emotional body comes next, and from those three things, from those three components, the physical body is formed. So when we're looking at parasites in relation to the spiritual body, so